Recently, the gaming industry has been suffering some very profound changes. The moment our gaming systems started becoming connected to the internet, a whole bunch of new concepts emerged. Things like patches, connectivity issues, online-only games, and DRM to name a few. I still remember the days of the PS2 where the games I bought needed to be finished and bug-free before they were recorded on the CD, because the developers had no way of fixing their games afterwards. There were no patches or DLC to fix problems the developers didn't have time to fix. People also didn't pre-order games as often, and so if a game wasn't good, people simply wouldn't buy it, forcing developers to focus on properly finishing these games before they were released. Nowadays though, it's a whole different reality. Thanks to the internet, games can now be fixed long after its release. The number of pre-orders also has never been higher, since it has become so easy to do it. And while it's good that developers can now make their games even better because of it, they can also go lazy and release a half-assed game, knowing they can always fix it later. And never was this more apparent than in 2014. Some of the more recent and noteworthy examples are Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed Unity from Ubisoft. Both had huge, game-breaking problems at launch, such as broken physics, characters' faces missing, and falling or passing through the world to name a few. But more annoying and recurring as those are the online issues. What game in 2014 with a major online component didn't launch without problems? One would assume that with the size of these companies and the amount of hype they surround their games, they would know that on launch day they're going to have a bunch of players crashing down on their servers to play. And yet not a single launch went by smoothly. But that's not the issue here. It's understandable that a lot of the issues of major online gameplay, at the scale we are experiencing nowadays, have not yet been resolved. But there is no excuse for all these AAA titles that demand a minimum of $60 from the customer to come out buggy, unfinished, and many times unplayable. So why does it happen? Some would say that it's the developers that have become lazy, and knowing they can always fix it later, they release the game half-finished to rip the benefits. But I think that's wrong, and actually disrespectful for the developers. What developer worth his shoes wants to release a product with its name that isn't in the best state it can be? No, the fault many times falls on the sometimes unseen publisher behind the developers that needs to put the product out in order to make a profit. I can understand that in the end this is still a business and any major enterprise in the end wants to make money. But what happened to customer satisfaction? In any other industry, if someone sells you an unfinished or broken product, you return it and buy someone else's. There's always a necessity for the companies to remain competitive if they want to stay alive. In the gaming industry though, it's a bit different. Sure, there are games that are similar to each other, and entire genres that define exactly the experience you're expected to get out of a game. But each game is fundamentally different from another. There may be games similar to Assassin's Creed, for example, but you'll still want to play the Assassin's Creed. Which is why these major franchises keep selling millions each year, despite the fact that their games may be buggy and unfinished. Sure, some arguments could be made that the majority of the market is comprised of the casual players, which, unlike the hardcore players, are not aware of all these problems with the industry, and therefore buy into these major franchises every year, making sure they remain profitable. But I think that problem falls on another subject, which I will refer in a future video. So in the end, what can we do? We hardcore gamers are the minority, and so talking with our wallets might not be enough to sway the corporate giants. Well, for one, we should try and speak louder and further. If we can inform the casual market about all these problems with the industry, they might become more wary about what they purchase. YouTube is already a trend-setting platform thanks to the way its celebrities have the ability to spread the word. Just look at Flappy Bird and why it got so popular. And second, we need to show that our community has matured.
Get out of here! Every time I see that camera, you embarrass me and you put it on Facebook and everybody sees it and then I get in trouble! Get out!
Companies still see us as whining, young and stupid people that don't quite know what they want out of their games. And in a way, we are. How many times do I arrive at a comment section and there's a less than intelligent discussion going on between two users about some gaming related topic? Sure, there are some mature users out there, please don't take this as an insult, but the majority is still very childish and immature. making the companies believe they can pull some really awful bullshit on us, and we won't care. Remember the announcement of the Xbox One? And their plans for always-on DRM? Yeah. In conclusion, I'll just say that not everything looks grim. About the after-mentioned announcement, we changed that. The community as a whole rised against the always-on DRM, and Microsoft was forced to change their policies. We can cause change. We just need to spread the word, and once again we can change the industry for the better. Hopefully. Anyway, thanks for listening to me rant all this time. Any suggestions or interesting opinions about this video, leave them in the comments. And if you liked it, subscribe for more.